What's up, guys? Dustin LeBleu, CEO podcast. I'm Dustin. I'm here with
Austin.
Hey, you're there.
What's up,
You're
guys?
here. It's Monday.
It's definitely a Monday. God, that's so accurate.
You were out at the you're out in the wilderness. You're out at the what would you call it? The cabin site or something like that? Or what were you at?
I tried to go camping over the weekend. I mean, we already live in northern Arkansas, so it's like camping just going home.
Yeah.
But I mean, dude, I was one step away from deliverance where I was at, and I kind of realized
Deliverance. Oh shit.
I was like,
damn.
I just realized, like, if you're gonna use the word cabin on your website description,
Mm-hmm.
it better be a damn cabin when I get there. What I stayed in was like a hut.
Okay. So they shouldn't have been so damn silent then. Like they should have
Exactly.
told what the hell this is.
They should have spoke up, and they should have had like a very thorough description of what it was. But that is that's going to be the podcast for today. So
It's a cool ass title. Why
Exactly.
so silent?
Why so silent?
So what like kind of explain to everybody what we're going to talk about and like how this can affect you,
yeah,
and like
so
it's in terms of risk, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, like, psychologically speaking, if you're one of those people that always has a fear of speaking up, or the fact that you're always silent, it's going to play out basically in a very one-dimensional way, which
Mhm.
is you're never going to have that yes answer. It's always going to be a no. And let me explain that. So if you're too scared to even speak, that means you're too scared to, I guess, make a decision or even take a certain direction, because if you don't voice your opinion or if you don't speak, then that there is no yes or no. It's always no for you, meaning you're always keeping it inside.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I kind of perceive it, per se. Now, I know you did some research, kind of molded over and really looked into it, and not like the actual scientific idea of it.
Yeah, I don't know the whole scientific idea, but I think what you're referring to is like talking about the personality traits.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody, like the big 5 personality traits. I've been kind of like looking into that stuff and things like that. But I think, being silent, like everybody's afraid of risk.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, and this is something that I've never really battled with, but I see a lot of people battle this, and it's being silent. So to me, that's more of a risk than speaking your mind, or, like I wouldn't have as many businesses that I have today if I was scared to speak my mind. And a lot of times that will get me in trouble, but usually I can resolve those situations because I'll be like, okay, what did you not like about what I said? How did I come off? Let's resolve that issue, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not, and that's okay too. Maybe we're just not meant to click together.
Yeah. And I think this is like definitely one of those podcasts that people are going to want to listen to like very thoroughly.
Yes.
Because I feel like a lot of young entrepreneurs, even seasoned ones, and for that matter, family people, like if you have that stone wall of not being able to speak, or that fear just in general, then it's crippling. It is definitely a crippling disease.
And that's something we'll get into. Like we'll get into that like more on a personal side, like of what could happen to you, and in the kind of like the almost downward spiral that can take on someone's life, basically, if you don't ever speak up and you're scared to talk about it.
That's one of those aspects that I try not to even think about, but you can't ignore. I mean, the fact that it does kind of get dark, and the fact that some people do take their lives from the thought that they can't speak to anybody, or the thought that they have a fear there that they don't want to speak or can't. And look at what happened to one of the greatest musicians of my time. I say greatest, one of the great musicians of my time, Chester Bennington, who within the last week took his own life. And you read everywhere that he was struggling with substance abuse and battling depression, and it's just like, you think, how does someone with that kind of fame and that kind of money or whatever, like how do they come across something like that?
Yeah.
It's just like, people scream chemical imbalance in the brain. People say, cowardly way out. And it's just like, but what if there was just, no one to talk to? Or
at the end of the day, that person was struggling big time.
Yeah.
And that's what we had a podcast a couple weeks ago about finding the light in the darkness. Mm-hmm. And that's a big thing for me, is sometimes like I know I'll have to go to that dark place to find some cool ideas and things like that, but I don't want to stay there. And us talking about it, it was kind of weird for me to talk about at first, but it was a good thing to talk about because now I've opened up to that. So people that out there may have the same feelings. It's okay. Now they know, like, okay, I'm out here speaking out with my reputation. saying these kind of things,
Yeah.
or putting out a product that is considered bizarre, or whatever the case is.
Yeah, challenging ideologies and supplement space.
Yeah, like right now, I should be playing safe, but I'm not going to do that because that's just not the way I am. And this all goes to the point of, to me, it's more risky to not speak your mind or not challenge new ideas or whatever the case is there.
Yeah. So we'll just hit it right off the bat. So like, if you're coming into any sort of business space, if you're a young entrepreneur, young business person, the first thing that you're going to have to obviously know, we talked about this within the last 2 weeks, is basically your character and kind of like knowing who you are as a person before you jump into anything. But one of the things that you
100%.
should really get off, like right off the bat, like off your chest, is, are you one of those people that voices your, like your ideas and your opinions, or are you one of those people that just stay silent? Because that is heavily going to dictate how you operate in said field, and it can ultimately dictate, will you fail or will you succeed? So I think, that is one of the main questions. Like, as a young entrepreneur and or business person, again, like, you need to ask yourself that right off the bat. Like, along with the characteristic ideas, is like, can you speak? Can you openly, I guess, like, mediate a situation with somebody?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that capability?
Yeah, that goes to the character traits like we were talking about. Like, some people are open; those tend to be more the creative type. Some people are more agreeable. And look up the big 5 character traits. And it may be hard for some people to be open vocally, but it might be easier for you to be vocal by developing a product. Maybe you put in a lot of those ideas in the product that you're wanting to talk about, right? Or maybe you write a book. Maybe you write music. Mm-hmm. Those are big things there. Like you mentioned Chester Bennington. He would try to speak through music, but ultimately that wasn't even enough. So there's a lot to be said there.
Yeah. But I'd say, definitely, how would you, I'm trying to think of a way that, like, you could even develop that sense, like develop the sense of being able to speak, the sense of not being able to remain silent, because I think that's going to definitely be a big characteristic for people in regards to success or failure. But, I think it's just kind of like the idea of self-acceptance, knowing that, okay, like, it's going to be yes or no. There, in business, there shouldn't be a mid-road of maybe. It's either yes or no. Mm-hmm. It's kind of pretty much cold cut, so you need to realize that.
And the most risky is what? Not asking any questions or stating anything that you feel, because you don't know what the answer will be. I'd rather have a yes or a no.
Yeah.
If it's a no, well, then maybe I'll challenge the idea and make it a yes eventually.